Shabbat Shalom. My initial response to the proposed overseas trip was, how interesting. Where is it? And why would we go? To my discredit, I could not have located Azerbaijan on a map. More so, I knew almost nothing about the country. So why did we go? A little history is in order here. Just before the breakup of the Soviet Union, the modern Republic of Azerbaijan was created. It's bordered by the Caspian Sea on the east, Russia to the northwest is Georgia, Soviet Georgia. Almost directly to the west is Armenia, and to the south, with whom it shares an exceedingly long border, is a country officially called the Islamic Republic of Iran. If you value freedom, it's probably not the neighborhood you would choose. A former republic of the Soviet Union, Azerbaijan is now a first world oil-rich country. The capital city, Baku, has state-of-the-art museums, well-paved highways, restored old mansions which abut modern architecture, and those buildings surround the old city, which goes back to around the 12th century. I was among 9 rabbis and 2 spouses, including my wife, Beverly, who traveled as official guests of the government of Azerbaijan, and then on to Israel, where the foreign ministry arranged most of our meetings. We went as part of the Zionist Rabbinic Coalition, where I happily serve on the leadership team. Its relatively new organization, the ZRC as we call it, now represents a large and growing group of Reform and Conservative and Orthodox rabbis. We work to advocate commitment and dedication to Zionism in Israel. So here's why we went and why I think it's important. The relationship between Israel and Azerbaijan is distinct. It's a country which is 95% Muslim, Shia Muslim, mostly secular, and has the longest standing and most comprehensive partnership of Israel of any Muslim majority country in the world. For the last 30 years, Azerbaijan has been key to Israel's energy security, supplying some 40 to 60% of Israel's oil. And in 2024, during the war with Hamas and Hezbollah, when they were under pressure from Turkey and from Iran to stop producing and selling oil to Israel, and Israel vitally needed the energy, Azerbaijan increased its exports to Israel by 55%. It is noteworthy that when other moderate Muslim countries, like the 4 who signed the Abraham Accords, distanced themselves during the war, Azerbaijan intensified its relationship. In Israel, and I think it's fair to say, which can be at times a little politically divided, all major political factions agree on the unique importance of Azerbaijan. And while we rabbis were certainly in no way official dignitaries, the time that we were on this trip, we were treated with extraordinary respect. It felt as if it was a diplomatic mission. Our 5 days were filled with meetings and briefings and conversations. Among those, for example, whom we met was the National Security Advisor, Hikmet Hajiev, who was also perhaps the top advisor to the president of the country, Eliav. I had an opportunity to very respectfully ask him why, given Azerbaijan's support of Israel, when it comes to voting in the United Nations, they're not particularly supportive. He gave a thoughtful response. Time for another conversation. We also had a conversation very candidly with the Charge d'Affaires in Baku, and we met with and actually had dinner at the home of Ronan Krause, the Israeli ambassador to Azerbaijan. His wife made salmon and homemade cheesecake for the 11 of us. He reassured us that the acceptance we were witnessing of Jews was indeed genuine. There are two Jewish day schools, naturally, in Azerbaijan, a Sephardic and an Ashkenaz. We entered the classrooms. We met with the rabbis who oversee the schools. The schools are paid for by the government of Azerbaijan, as are all private schools. And in this regard, not only is Azerbaijan tolerant of Jews, they don't even like to use the word tolerant because it implies they are simply willing to tolerate the Jews. They like the word diversity because, and that term came up time after time, because it's a country where proudly the Jewish community has a role. From Azerbaijan, we flew to Israel. There are, I believe, and I tried to check this out, but I think it's right, 21 weekly flights between the two countries, and I think they're all nonstop. In Israel, we met with foreign ministry officials, members of the Knesset, the Israeli ambassador to Azerbaijan, defense experts, and those officially charged. So these are the government officials in charge of combating anti-Semitism and doing Israel's public relations. In addition, two very thoughtful women spoke to us, Melanie Phillips and Michal Kotler-Wunsch. They spoke about the continued global efforts, well-organized and well-funded, to intimidate Jews and to ostracize Israel. This is another battle, I must say, quite tragic, that Israel and the Jewish community around the world is facing, and it's a battle that we must join with them facing. Our visit to the Gaza envelope was chilling and in some ways unexpectedly inspiring. We visited the site of the Nova Music Festival and in silence walked the grounds surrounded by posters of the slain. The Israel Defense Forces provided us with a special escort, a very high-ranking general, that allowed us entrance to areas not available to the public. This included the Kerem Shalom crossing into Gaza, where Israel sends 600 trucks a day with food to Gaza. We witnessed it. The director of operations said in truth they only need about 100 trucks to fill the need. But of course, when the trucks enter Gaza, the United Nations is unfortunately not particularly helpful in distributing it, and Hamas often violently steals the goods. But for me, the most somber moment is when we were escorted into the Nahal Oz base. You may have read about the young women observers, Tzatspitaniyot, whose job it was to closely monitor the screens, that anything going on in Gaza, it was their job to alert the IDF and the Israeli government. They saw suspicious movement, and their pleas apparently were seemingly brushed off on October 7th. We stood in the small, burned-out room that Hamas invaded, with the little remnants that are left of the computer monitors, where these brave women of the IDF, some murdered, others taken hostage, and others I won't go into it. Most of us stood silent and still in this room. And then a young woman soldier turned to our small delegation and shared her pride in being an Israeli and her passion for her country. None of us could stop a flow of tears. While only 2.5 days in Israel, most of my colleagues left that night to return to the States. The trip was officially over, but my wife and I had arranged to stay in Tel Aviv 5 more days. It was a little bit of a vacation, but we were there through Shabbat where we saw family and friends. And in talking to them, and this is completely subjective, but we concluded Israel is scarred, Israel is moving back, and Israel is absolutely remarkable. This week we begin the reading of the book of Exodus. It is here that our people emerge. We are liberated from slavery and we begin our 40-year journey to the promised land. At that moment, as difficult as it must have been for our ancestors, they were given hope. The most valuable and overriding insight from this trip that I took is that a Muslim country and the Jewish nation can work together in partnership with shared interests and shared respect. As Stuart Weinblatt, the founder and extraordinary leader of the Zionist Rabbinic Coalition, wrote, Azerbaijan and Israel demonstrate that such a relationship is not only possible, it is already flourishing, benefiting both peoples in diplomacy, security, trade, culture, and education. This partnership offers hope for other Muslim-majority countries considering a different path, one of coexistence and cooperation with Israel. And yet, it is important to acknowledge that Azerbaijan is unique. While 95% Muslim, it is officially secular. That means there is a separation between religion and state. And there are other distinctions with other Muslim-majority countries. And still, when one is there, it is clear that the relationship between Azerbaijan and Israel is working to the benefit of both countries. Since the creation of the modern state of Israel in 1948, her leaders have proposed peace. Perhaps, just perhaps, those who target and vilify and try to harm Israel, if they would step back and decide it is not in their interest to destroy Israel, the moment that that happens and they reach out and begin a partnership, I would almost guarantee not only will it be better for Israel, it will be better for their country, their future, and their people. Shabbat Shalom.